Town Council. Happy New Year, first meeting of the new year. We'll begin with Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. A couple of housekeeping items here. We get started. First is the approval of December 11th, 2018 minutes. Unfortunately, was not here. I was ill, so we have a quorum. Councilwoman House.
We have to have a public hearing on 236.
I always miss that, don't I?
Sorry.
I always do, every time. Maybe start highlighting it like in yellow or something. So. Okay, so we started it. We're going to open a public hearing on ordinance 236. Do we have a motion to close the general business meeting, open a public hearing, ordinance 236?
I'll make a motion, we close the general meeting and open the public hearing on ordinance 236.
I'll second it.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we're in public hearing. Is there anybody here that is here to speak on ordinance 236 or annexations in general? Did we receive any comments or anything that should be put on the record?
We did not. We received nothing.
Absent any comments, nothing to put on the record. Hear a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 236, reopen the general session.
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing on ordinance number 236.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so back in general session. So now we can move on. Thank you, Kelly. Now we can move on December 11th, 2018 minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the December 11, 2018 minutes.
And I'll second that motion.
Motion and second. Any other comment, additions, or corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye to approve the minutes.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and then we have November 2018 Treasurer's Report. We have a motion to receive the Treasurer's Report.
I'll make a motion that we receive the November 2018 Treasurer's Report.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then we have the check register from December 2018 with Treasurer's Report to follow next month. We have a motion to receive the Treasurer's Report. I'm sorry, check register.
I'll make a motion we receive December 18th, 2018 check register.
I'll second that motion.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Mayor's report. I don't have much tonight. A couple of things. First, Happy New Year. We haven't had many weather-related events yet. It looks like we may get some weather this weekend. So please keep in mind that we did a pretty good job with the first one in order for us to kind of stay on the path that we like to be on with being top in the county and getting snow off the streets and being able to get people to work and home. Please follow the posted signs and move the cars off of the road and allow our guys to do what they do. Second, Mr. Shane Thomas, do you mind coming up? It's not a surprise to you, right? You agree to be on the Board of Zoning Appeals? So we'll swear you in here and you can sign. So I just state your name. I state your name.
Shane Thomas.
Do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and I will be faithful and will bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland. And I will support the Constitution and laws thereof. And I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Board of Zoning Appeals member according to the Constitution and laws of this state. All right. Congratulations. Thank you. We'll sign this, and then if you can take it over to Ms. Baldwin. And then you're committed. There's no more getting out of it now.
I'm right here.
With that, I'll turn it over to the town administrator.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and council members of the community. We'll go ahead and start with the December 18 administrative report. Under our pending items, the MDOT and SHA projects, the Mayor and Council has been copied on all correspondence back and forth from SHA to the town of Manchester. We just have to get together and formulate a letter in response to Mr. Concanon's letter back in sometime around November. So we have to get together on that and work on that response. The Sheets project, that is moving forward. They received all their approvals. The anticipated closing date of the current Sheets store is February 4th, And the reopening date will be late August or early September of this year. So that everybody's happy to see that. The store, they'll start immediately after the store is closed, and the first thing is going to be the earthwork and the utilities to go in. The packaged goods store on Main Street, I estimate that to be about 28 to 30% complete. We had a request for parking on Forest Street. I supplied the mayor and council via email all my information on that for you to look over for any comments. Under code enforcement, you have the monthly update. We do have a tentative date of February 13th in regards to an abatement hearing on a nuisance house in Manchester. Under miscellaneous items, the completion of the Sustainable Communities application is ongoing. The athletic field lighting project, staff over the next several weeks will be meeting with a rep from Musca Lighting in regards to a final quote. So that's good. We'll have that back before we start our budget work sessions. Miss Melissa Rowe and town staff has set up a kickoff meeting for the Manchester Events Planning Committee on January 22nd at 7 p.m. here at Town Hall. So if anyone's interested in coming to that, it's going to be a good group, and I think Melissa is a good person to have spearheading that project. And also the department has begun preliminary work in regards to the 2020 budget, and I don't know if you've received a copy yet of the work sessions, but you probably will over the next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They're like the standard days, so those
Yes.
that have been here, it's the meetings after the council meetings, and then like those fourth Wednesdays. But Kelly's putting together a schedule, at least a preliminary schedule of what we plan to step through as information's available. And obviously, I'll adjust as, as we have to.
Correct. Any questions for me? Very good. Thank you.
So Steve, we have, I guess Public Works coordinator.
Yes, Rodney's here.
Oh, there, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to bring your attention, to start, I'd like to bring your attention to the water and wastewater data report. We pumped 8.9 million gallons of treated water in for the month of December with an average of 286,000 gallons per day. At our wastewater treatment plant, we treated 14.2 million gallons of wastewater with an average of 460,000 gallons per day. Some other items on the report there: average temperature 34 degrees, precipitation, this is a shocker, 5.2 inches of rain last month. Any questions on the data report?
I have a question. When we look at total gallons of water pumped, we have 8.6 million versus the previous month of 7.9. Is that something seasonal, Steve? I know Rodney hasn't been here that long. Is that normal to have such a difference from month to month?
You'll have differences month to month due to water leaks. I believe over the last several months, we've had 2 water main breaks.
We had 4.
4 water
Okay,
main.
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, so you'll see
The
that.
holidays.
Also in the summer months, of course, people.
Yeah, I got
use-
that part.
And then you'll see that. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It could be more people spending time at home,
Could-
but it's a 10% difference, so.
I think it's pretty big.
Okay. Anything else? All right, moving on to our water department. For December, we had a total of 4 water leaks. All have been located and repaired. One was on the public side, and that was off of Wood Drive, and that was repaired by our staff December 11th. The 3 remaining ones were on the private side of our system. They were repaired by homeowners the last week in December. One was on Beaver Street, 2 were on the 3200 block of Main Street, one was on the east side, one was on the west side. Okay, moving on, number 3. On December 5th, I contacted the company to come and do a presentation on spring replace piping, also known as SIPP. They did a demo and a PowerPoint for our town staff. This is a cost-effective approach to rehabbing water lines. It's a lot more economical than your open cut and remove and replace. It's a rehab option that we're looking into and we may consider. It's about a third the cost. Okay, moving on to wastewater. At our wastewater treatment plant on December 1st, we had our effluent discharge switchover from our spray field irrigation to George's Run stream. This is a 3-month period where it'll go into the stream. The switchback will be March 1st, and that's in accordance with our MDE permit. Number 2, under wastewater, we have repairs are in progress on a failed blower at our wastewater treatment plant. We are able to repair in-house for $600 as opposed to $8,000 for a brand new one. Blowers are an essential necessity to the treatment process. This is one of 3. 2 run constantly, 1 is a backup. Stormwater management proposals are in for the Eckhart's Funeral Home Stormwater Management Project, Phase 1. This is an action item that I'll be bringing up shortly. This turns out to be a 2-phase project. This is Phase 1 on the south end of the property, and the purpose of this is to convey stormwater problems they've been having on their south end. Water's been getting into the crematory. Maintenance roads and parks, cost proposals are also in for a Gator utility vehicle. This is also an action item I'll be bringing up shortly. This is a multi-use piece of equipment that will be used by all our departments. Number 2, under maintenance, our FY19 street resurfacing and storm drain repair projects have been completed. Number 3, currently our field staff are doing interior repairs and painting to various town buildings. All right, on to our action items. Back to the purchase of the Gator. I am requesting your consideration and approval to purchase a John Deere Gator from Fence Services in the amount of $12,897.00.
Kelly, do we have a plan, or Rodney, this may be for you to make up the difference of $9,900 that was budgeted for fiscal year 19 and the amount of the bids that came in?
Yeah, it says they're gonna take the additional from each of the 3, correct?
We worked that out, yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maintenance box, spray fields.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments on?
Well, how do we find the wiggle room here? Because we're pretty tight.
We found it in the three departments we were originally pulling them from equipment repairs. We think we're sure we're gonna be okay. We already have the equipment gone through and repaired and preventive maintenance done for upcoming spring, so
Okay,
we're confident we're gonna be okay.
okay. So we're ahead of the game, so to speak.
Knock on wood, yes.
Okay.
That's probably the way I should have worded my question.
Yeah.
What?
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Well, $3,000 is an appreciable amount when we are looking at, a tight budget year in and year out. I just want to make sure that we've got it accounted for and that we're not putting any equipment at risk. That's all.
Kelly, you're comfortable with where we are on that? Okay. Any other questions, or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we purchase the John Deere Gator in the amount of $12,897.07 out of the FY19 budget, to be split between the maintenance, parks, and spray fields equally.
I'll second. Go ahead, Dale.
so second with Dale. Motion second, any other discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All right, thank you. My second, action item is I'm requesting you to consider and approve an award to the Eckerd Stormwater Management Phase One project to Steamboat Incorporated for $14,145. And I do want to add this as contingent on an MOU. We do have a verbal agreement with Eckerd's Fuel, and we're working on the memorandum of understanding at this time.
Okay, so to be clear, are you asking for the approval to go with Stanball's when the time is right, or are you asking for approval of the council to move forward with the MOU for the easement and maintenance?
We're asking to award to Stanball's contingent on the MOU. We don't see an issue.
Okay. Anybody have any questions with respect to that?
So how many phases are you anticipating?
We're thinking two.
Two?
And total cost of the project?
The second phase is probably going to be double the length, so it'll be double this cost.
And we're butting up on our $40,000.
Well, phase one will be this.
And you're gonna push that to 2020,
We're-
phase two.
Phase two will be 2020.
Got it, okay, understood.
I'll make a motion that we accept Stanball Inc.'s bid in the amount of $14,145 for phase one of the storm drain repair at Eckart's, contingent on the MOU and easement agreement for maintenance with the property owners.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Anything else or any other questions for Director of Public Works? Hearing none, let's move on.
Yeah.
All right,
I don't blame you.
all right, thanks, Rodney.
If I could add just one thing, just to piggyback on what Steve was saying earlier about the package store. A couple people have asked the question, hey, it looks like there's a liquor store and a house being built right next door to it. That's not just a separate home being built, it's part of the project, and it's part of the owner's, it's gonna be, office, like it's office space in the bottom level.
Correct.
And then an apartment on top. So if
Correct.
you see two buildings side by side, that's what it is, it's not just a separate home going in.
Correct.
And all that would have gone through the process of planning and zoning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dale, can
Middle.
you check your microphone, please?
Hello, hello?
There you go.
There you go. Okay. Thank you.
Should we start? We can start over.
Yeah. Start with the pledge.
Bring it up again.
All right, I'll turn things over to Chief.
Yes, sir. So, for the month of December, we had 79 calls for service, and we were doing pretty good. We had 0 Part 1 crime for the entire month until Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve, there was a home invasion back on Maiden Lane. It was drug-related, it was isolated, there's nothing to worry about. We had a crew come up from Westminster. They stayed at 3073 Main Street. Drug deal went bad at 3074. They decided to go over with force to get their money. There was an overnight investigation into the next day, and they were arrested. So they're out of the equation. It was rental housing. We have been having problems with 3073 Main Street. In particular, this one location, we got a couple different crime patterns coming back to this apartment. We have been making arrests, and now we're working with the landlord to abate that issue. Outside of that, the month of December was perfect until Christmas Eve. So bringing the year to the end for 2018, we had a huge reduction in arrest, which is good. 2018, we had 38 adults and 13 juveniles, compared to 2017, where we had 91 adults charged and 12 juveniles. So that's a nice reduction. It's almost 50%. 103 compared to 51 for a total. So that's great news. For overdoses, not so good. The county, according to law enforcement reporting, and why I stress law enforcement, we're not entitled to hospital reporting or the health department until after the year ends, and usually those numbers increase. We had 513 overdose cases that we recorded on the law enforcement side. in comparison to 511 on 2017. But the disturbing number is we had 71 fatalities for an increase of 44.9% compared to 49 in 2017. So that number's going in the wrong direction. When you break the municipalities down, Hampstead did see a decrease. They had 12 this year in comparison to 19 last year. Unfortunately, Manchester, we had 8 this year in comparison to 6 last year, and we had 3 fatalities. Sykesville was 5 this year in comparison to 6. Tawnytown was 30 in comparison to 37. Westminster jumped up to 186 from 157. And Mount Airy, we just started collecting the data, and they had 21. Traffic enforcement, for the month of December, we did have 37 traffic enforcement stops. We had 790 for a total year. And I want to tell you, we're going to take a hard look at that because it only averages 2.1 traffic stops per day. So if anybody's out there disobeying the traffic laws, hold on, because we're going to increase them, because the boss is going to make the guys make more car stops. We did issue 295 citations for the year and 495 verbal warnings and written warnings. The good news is we ended the year with 14 Part 1 crimes, which gave us a 17% decrease in crime in comparison to 2017, and a 71% decrease in crime in comparison to 2013. So we're definitely heading in the right direction. The crime is down. When you do a comparison of total crime, and what I mean by total crime, that's when we start to include the simple assaults, where normally both parties know each other or they're domestics. We still did have a 34% decrease 2018 in comparison to 2017. Domestics were down, simple assaults, as we call them, were down, so everything's heading in the right direction there. And that's about it. Mayor, if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them.
You got any questions for the chief? So overall, 2018, another good year. More and more things pop up on Facebook sometimes and social media, which can make it seem like things are getting worse. But the numbers are that things really are continuing to improve, and we're continuing to fight some of the battles that are very tough to fight and tough to keep up with opioids and drugs. As fast as we can keep up with it, it just creeps right back in. So, but we're doing everything that we can.
Yes.
The police department is, we were down a little bit. We're back up now in terms of we have more people on the streets.
Yes, we just hired a new officer. We got another replacement that we got to fill, and hopefully we can get to the new position that we created for the following year. But I'm trying to take my time because it's recruitment and retention's tough across the board for law enforcement. And when you get a small town, it's even more tough. It's not easy to do.
Yeah, so as
But
you
we're
can
getting them. We're finding the right parties.
Right. And that's the thing with a small town like this, we really have to find not just a body, but like the right person. So somebody that wants to be here, that wants to do community policing in a place, you know, like Manchester, is willing to do the kind of police work that we need done, and deal with citizens in a manner that you know, we really need them dealt with. So the chief's done a great job at finding those people. Every once in a while, you know, if we hire somebody young, obviously they may look to advance their career, and so, or if we hire somebody that's more seasoned, you know, they're here for a while, and then they may decide to take a second retirement. But we are, you know, I guess, one away right now, and then.
Yes.
So but we're out there, and the numbers are still heading in the right direction.
Oh, hey, Mayor, one thing I do want to touch base on, because I did get a lot of feedback. Just the other night on Maiden Lane, again, we had the TAC team come in, and we had to surround the house. And it was what we call high-risk entry. There was a home invasion robbery of guns out on Edvale. And then the suspect in that case came down to High Street, and which is just off Maiden Lane. And he barricaded himself in the house there. So we ended that without incident. Nobody was hurt. He went to jail, and we got all the property back.
And all of these, I think we can say this here, these things are not random, though they're still involved with the drug trade. So it's a positive step that we're staying on top of these things, and when these things do pop up, you know, we clean them up the best we can, but there's not a high risk of, you know, home invasions that are
No.
random.
No, not at all. Knock on wood.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for the chief? All right. Steve, can you, or Kelly, can you provide a few comments here for the rescinding approval and readopt ordinance 235?
Pardon, the one thing I could say is, at the last meeting, we did vote to adopt that ordinance. So
Correct.
it was approved because of some timing issues that they could probably, because I left my notes at home, so I
Yes.
apologize, but
Correct.
it's a timing matter.
As far as placement in the newspaper, Carroll County Times, the server went down. I think it's the Chicago Tribune or wherever, who handles the different newspapers. We were required to advertise it in Carroll County Times. Their server went down, and so we waited for the newspaper, and it was not there for at least 5 days. The server was down. So we talked with our attorney, and he said the best thing to do, since you've already had a public hearing on 235, which is the zoning map, is to rescind the approval. He said this is kind of uncharted territory because there's nothing really in the charter that guides us how to do this. So he said, but you have met the intention of the law and the ordinance. So rescind that and then reapprove it so then we can get it and meet the requirements for advertising 2 times in a local newspaper to give anyone who would like to, basically bring it to referendum, the ability to do so within it's a 20-day time period. So that's why we have to do this.
Okay. Makes sense.
So, and just to reiterate, it was a proper ordinance, we handled it properly, the
Yes.
timing matter.
Right, we had the
Right,
public
just the
hearing.
advertisement.
Right.
I guess just for the record, anything come in
No.
over the past, nothing came in
No.
formally or informally
No.
with respect to the timing. So I guess it's really up to you guys. I don't know if anything's transpired with this group that would cause you to feel differently. It was a pretty robust process that they were through. We handled all with one motion?
I believe so.
Okay. So do we have a motion to rescind December 2018 approval of ordinance 235 and readopt ordinance 235 in January 2018?
2019.
I'll make a motion that we rescind the December 2018 approval for ordinance number 235 and readopt the ordinance number 235, approving the comprehensive zoning map.
I'll second that.
All right, motion and second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, that's good. Councilman Wilder, do you want to handle ordinance 236?
Yeah, I'll just summarize this quickly, in that the last meeting, we did introduce that, and basically that addresses the clustering of R40 zoning, which our 40,000 square feet is basically an acre. And what that says is we're encouraging clustering, which means if we had a 100-acre lot and with 100 one-acre lots, by clustering them, we would take those 100 homes and place them on 50 acres of that parcel, and then use the other 50 acres for open space, whatever the town might be able to use that for. And there's advantages to the town for doing that. Open space that we could maybe put a park. It does help with our infrastructure. If the houses are spread out and the land is not conducive to infrastructure, it could be very costly for the town. So there's advantages to us. So basically it just says we're going to take 100 acres of 100 homes and put those on 50 acres. Those same 100 homes, just generally speaking. So we introduced it last month. Now we had our public hearing earlier, now we can vote on that.
Okay. Very good. Any other question? Dale, you want to make a motion then?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 236, modifying the R40 for annexations after 10/1/2018.
I'll second that motion.
Motion second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, moving along. Mr. Bill Early from Clifton Larson Allen. They handle our town audit, so Mr. Early is here to give us a report.
Good evening, Happy New Year. Happy to be here again with you all. I'll be brief. So once again, we came out this past summer and fall, and we audited the financial statements of the town, as you're required to have by law. They were submitted to the state by October 31st, as required. Once again, you received an unmodified opinion on your financial statements, which is the opinion that you want. It's called a clean opinion. If you get a chance, we encourage you to read pages 3 through 10. That is called the management discussion analysis. That's a very high-level year-to-year comparison for you all and a high-level summary. In the back of the financial statements, you also find your budget to actual statements that has the budget that you adopted compared to the actual results. The financial statements are the responsibility of management. We do the audit. We're here on site about 2 weeks. This year we had about 4 people here that we sit down. We're in the conference room, much better conference room now, I will say, in the new building. So, and we work closely with Kelly and her staff and Steve to go through the numbers and do our test of controls, and we do some other testing to make sure the numbers are accurate. After that, we issue the financial statements, and then in conjunction with that, we issue a governance letter to you all as those charged with governance. That is the council's responsibility over the financial statements. This year, we also issued a management letter. In that management letter, we issued 2 comments that we've had the past several years. One was the segregation of duties. Being the small town, you do have segregation of duties issues. Just because of the number of personnel, you can't split out everything that you have, and you all are aware of that. You do receive the check register at the meetings, as everyone witnessed tonight, so that is a mitigating control that you all have put in for that. And then the second one is the preparation of the financial statements. You as a town, you are concerned with the budget to actual day-to-day finances of the town, and that's what Kelly is responsible for and oversees. So therefore, you seek the assistance of us as the auditors to prepare your financial statements and implement any new additional accounting standards that would be required. So those were the 2 comments that we had. All the other issues are in the governance letter we issued. Standard issue just talks about the estimates, the financial statements. There was no communication prior to us being adopted as the auditors. All the information that's required to be communicated with you all as the town council under auditing standards. So with that, I will answer any questions you will have on the financial statements or any of the letters we issued and move on.
Any questions for Mr. Early?
Okay. All right.
Thank you
Thank
again.
you all.
Thank you.
All right, Tree of Friends. So as they're making their way up, I did send an email to the council. Steve Miller, the chief, and I, and Kelly came in right at the very end. We met with the Tree of Friends group, some of whom that are here, and walked through the old police station. They'll do a great job of explaining their community mission, the kind of things that they do. And we essentially just showed them the building to see if it may work for their purposes. I believe that they're slated to lose the building that they're currently in this year. So they asked if they could come and talk to this group, and here they are.
Hi, good evening, everyone. What is that?
Sorry about that.
I thought it was me. So I'm Darcy Hott with Tree of Friends. This is my husband, Eric. Eric's just going to give us a brief overview of what we're going to chat about and our goal for being here this evening.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, Mayor, Council. So as Darcy was saying, we do operate the food pantry located at 3211 Main Street, right next to the fire department. It's also owned by the fire department. They informed us last month that due to maintenance costs, that they no longer wish to rent the facility, and we would have to find a new location, before June 1st. And as you can see on your agenda, I guess the reason we're here is we're requesting consideration to rent and occupy the former police station that sits vacant on Long Lane.
Thanks. So just wanted to give you a little background about Tree of Friends, and you want to step over there? Sure. And kind of go through some of our metrics just to give you a better understanding of who we are, what we do. So we're formed in 2008, so we're 501c3, and we're under the guidance of the Community Foundation of Carroll County. We're under that general umbrella. And our mission is to address humanitarian needs which are not being met or underserved in our community. So basically at this point, we have 3 central programs, and those are our food pantry, our backpack program, and our bed program. I'll run through a couple of quick metrics with you. these greens aren't coming out so well, but there's a lighter green and a darker. And this shows over the past year, the number of people that we've had walk through our door for services, and then our total number served. So the difference there is it's people who are actually coming in to pick up the food at the food pantry versus their families that are being fed as a result of that. So on average, I think it's about 100 people who come in.
100 through the door
And
and
about-
270 a month is
Yeah,
the average.
270.
Is this just food pantry? This isn't the other?
This is just food pantry.
Yeah, just the pantry.
And food pantry's open
Uh,
every Sunday?
Sunday, 2 to 4. I'll give a little explanation. So we have canned and dry goods, fresh eggs, frozen meat. We get deliveries from Wise and Miller, so we get fresh food from Miller's, from farms around. Folks come in, they sign in so we can track the numbers we're serving. They get a basket, a shopping basket. They're allowed 20 items in our pantry. We weigh the basket when they're finished and bag the groceries for them, and they're done.
Yeah. First-time clients that come in, so obviously we have our regulars who come in every week, but we have several first-time clients every weekend. So by month, you can see, the average between 6 and 7, 8 new clients. In addition to that, we have folks who kind of drop off. Either they needed us temporarily and no longer need us anymore, which is great for them, or maybe they moved away. So volunteer hours is another key point here. So we serve as a central location for a lot of the service learning hours. So a lot of the schools and clubs and different organizations come in and volunteer. And they do things like run food drives for us. They'll check expiration dates for us and shelve all the products. So this is interesting to me. So this shows over the past year the food that's donated from all of our community partners versus the food that's distributed, and this is in pounds. So you see, as you go across, it's pretty close. So we feel like we've really, over the past 3 years, have become more sustainable, and we're really able to draw from our community to serve our community, which is very much our purpose. And here's just a few community partners that we have, and some of these are grocery stores, some of these are restaurants, the different schools and churches and rec councils, and these are folks who we really have come to rely upon over the past few years, and they'll do things like provide us with food donations. Like Eric was saying, Miller's Market comes in every week and gives us everything that they can't sell on Sundays, so we gratefully take them up on that. And in addition to that, we have folks who are giving us larger grants, and that's how we've been able to sustain our rent over the past few years.
We're also a partner with Maryland Food Bank, which is a big one that's not on here.
In addition to the food pantry, we have the backpack snack program. So we do this 2 or 3 times a month. It's throughout the school year and during the whole summer. And we deliver food to kids throughout the summer. So it's about 35 to 40 students. They're coming from Manchester Elementary and Ebb Valley. And it's a 2-week supply of meals and snacks and fruit. And then the bed program, so this is in coordination with the local guidance counselors. So it's, we provide beds, mattresses, frames for children who are moving out of the local shelter program. And last year we distributed 36 beds. So just a couple quick benefits to the town that I wanted to run through. So this is a potential revenue stream. I heard you talk about having a tight budget year, so this is, a couple dollars maybe toward a revenue stream. It's a consistent, reliable team of people who would be occupying the building. So we brought our team with us. The adults are in the front row, and the children who come every week are in the third row. So, it's something that we can all be keeping an eye on, any sort of, deferred maintenance items or issues that come up. Another point is an unoccupied property insurance is more expensive than an occupied building. And then in addition to that, Tough maintains renters insurance. So there's a benefit of that secondary insurance should something go wrong. So in closing, we're just asking that you consider allowing us to move in, to occupy, and to run a food pantry from the old police station.
And we invite you at some time, if you haven't seen our current operation, we can certainly be available whenever.
Show you around and show you how things operate. So any questions for us?
What's the size of the building you're in compared to our building?
It's probably, well, there's three levels. We don't use the basement too much, but I would say that building is probably around 4,000 square feet. Maybe a little
I'd say a little less than that, right?
But again, we only use the main floor. There's an upstairs that we do use for the backpack program, kind of an extra food storage, and then there's a basement where we keep the freezer. But beyond that, 1,200 square feet is actually
Yeah, our building's,
good.
right, with the shed, with the storage shed, you're looking at about, 1,200, a little bit over 1,200 square feet.
Any other questions for us?
So it's comparable to the first floor, or a little bit
Exactly.
bigger than the first floor.
Right. But it's laid out better. It's a really skinny building
a
that
lot
we're
of
in right now.
Kind of
This is-
unutilized space where we are, so.
Yeah.
No other questions? Okay. Thank you all very
Thank
much.
you for your time,
you.
appreciate it.
Commend your efforts.
Yeah, if you haven't been in, this, I guess goes for this group or anybody out there, I'd encourage you to stop in. I mean, it's a good thing that they're doing on a number of fronts, so, it'd be nice to find a way to work with this group, I think, if we can. I think it's mutually beneficial if we can find some way to do that. So to that end, and I know we're not ready for like any kind of vote or anything, are there objections from this group with continuing a conversation with the Tree of Friends group around? This is really as far as it's been taken, is they asked to see the building, we showed them the building and invited them here.
No,
Does
I mean,
anyone have?
I don't have a problem with it. I think we'd probably have some questions if we had time to think about it, and, I haven't really had too much time to, I haven't
Yeah,
had too much time to really put some thought into it, but.
Yeah, when Eric and I had a conversation, he's like, well, I'd rather start that conversation now in January,
Yeah.
so that
May
if
31st,
there's
don't call us.
a huge objection from the town, for whatever reason, then they can kind of get on with their business and find something that works for them. But knowing that, this would be like a first step for some folks to kind of see what they're doing. But I encourage you, I'm sure you can reach out to these guys directly. They're pretty responsive with answering things, at least when I've talked to them.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thank you. All right, questions, comments from the community? We have a full room here. It's a lot of tough people, I think. Was there anybody that either signed in to speak on a different issue or like to speak on a different issue before we move on? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go into committee reports. Councilwoman Smith.
I have not had, my meeting is Thursday, so I'll have a report at the next meeting.
Okay.
All right, at our last meeting, I brought up that we were in the process of working collaboratively between the Haley's Wish Foundation, or the Haley's Wish, the town, and the fire department on fundraisers for inclusive playground equipment. We have reached out to the fire department. They're more than happy to work with the town and Haley's Wish. We have planned or we're in the process of planning a designer bag bingo for Friday, August 23rd. We want plenty of time to be able to get things organized and sponsored. So we're hoping for a good turnout on that, and we're in the process of working on getting the permits and everything ready.
To tag onto that real quick, I don't know if you remember, but I spoke to a couple people.
Yes.
And they are interested in, not to the town obviously, but to Haley's with making some fairly sizable donation, so that should help out some too. And I'll get back to you on that and let you know who it is and, okay.
Excellent, thank you.
Nice. Councilmember Shelley.
The next MAMA meeting is January 17th at noon at Dutch Corner. And for this year, they're offering an early bird special on membership. They're discounting it by $10. Their normal membership is $50 a year. If you become a member prior to January 31st, they're knocking off $10, so that becomes $40. Also, I've been provided a list of just a few of their new ideas. Added website exposure, member business spotlight will be explained at the next meeting on January 17th. Member-to-member discounts and advertising campaign posting on MAMA social media sites. So they are trying to experience some growth with some new ideas and some new blood. So if you are a local business person, whether in the audience or out there in the television land, you might want to take advantage of this. That would be it.
Okay, Councilman Wilder.
Okay, two things, just to add on to what Steve said about the Sheets project. One of our agenda items last week, or last month, was to vote on final approval for their plans. We had a representative, Mr. Brent Brubaker, came to discuss the Sheets project. We did receive comments from the county. We did grant them final approval, subject to them answering those comments to the town's satisfaction. So they've been giving marching orders to go forward. The other, and you may recall that previously Ms. Martin approached the mayor and council to discuss the definition of agriculture and the chickens that she maintains. So she did come to discuss that definition. It was determined by the commission that the definition will stand as is. The town's attorney was present at that meeting, and he did support that decision. And generally speaking, it covers that chickens meeting the definition of agriculture, since that animal produces a product that is consumed. Having chickens is not the issue, because she's in business local for zoning. It does allow chickens, but there's a requirement for being your pen or the area that you keep them being 200 feet away from any other property. And because being on Main Street, the property is kind of a butt, so there's that distance. So Ms. Martin did ask for an extension at the last meeting. The extension will end on February 11th of this year.
Okay. Youth Representative Trent Longest.
So, starting with this past Friday and Saturday, Manchester Valley High School's Thespian Society, which is like drama but the next level of it for actors, put on their one-act show, The Insanity of Mary Gerard, and they'll be performing it again at the ITS Showcase this Friday. And last year in December, the choral and instrumental departments premiered their winter concerts, and after viewing both of them, I think they went fairly well. And a photography contest was announced today, which just for the first time we're hearing about it today. So the prize is supposed to be related to photography, so we'll see how that plays out. The yearbook committee has started putting together the yearbook for the 2018-2019 school year. And park testing has begun this year, and everyone's loving that. There was a wrestling match tonight at 6 o'clock, and the wrestling team also had a 78-6 win over Falston on Friday night. And for not as good news, there was a fight this morning that happened before the school day started around 7 o'clock between two sophomores. It was the first one I had heard of in a while, though, at least less than last year. Okay, so coming up, the senior-directed one-acts are having their auditions this month, and those are where the seniors in the drama program get to direct their own one-act show and show it to the community. And Ski Club has been canceled this week because it's warm up at Liberty. And finally, the first semester for students ends at the end of this month on January 31st. One last chance to get the grades up. And that's all I have.
All right, very good. Just a couple announcements here as we're wrapping up. I failed to thank everyone involved, the town staff and the fire department, for everything they did. Some of those folks are here for the town employee holiday luncheon. So each winter we put on a luncheon, and there's some serious and there's some fun and some. So it was a really nice event. Again, the fire department does a wonderful job with the food. So thank you. Jen took part in that. Hopefully that
I had to sit that one out. Kelly made me.
Take you off your feet.
Yeah. And a couple of dates. Office here will be closed Monday, January 21st for the MLK holiday. Christmas trees, and we're starting to see them on the curbs. They'll be picked up on the 8th. Sorry, the 11th and the 18th. Today is the 8th. So if you haven't gotten yours out to the street yet, please try to do that. But we do have those 2 dates. And then water bills are due January 30th, not January 31st. So the way that our system's set up, there's 2 months in the year. We have 31 days, but the water bills are due on the 30th. So please pay attention there. Anything else for this group?
Just that Jen's baby is obviously due January 31st.
21st.
21st.
Don't push it back anymore.
Thinking about the water bill. So we may not see her next month. We'll see how that goes. But we'll get her here, maybe. I can maybe pick her up.
Let's see.
There's room for a little porta crib over there.
Right.
on the
I already
side.
played, yep, I already have his first outfit picked out.
I'm
His
holding the
first
baby.
council outfit.
At the meeting. So, that's all.
Very good. So, best wishes, Jen.
Thank you.
And she'll have them with you next time we see you, right? All right. Anything else? Hearing none, we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Good night, everyone.